Hi, this is Coach Mike. I'm here with Coach Devin, Raw Fitness. I want to talk to you about getting banging booty on a budget. The only piece of equipment that we are going to use here today is a little handy dandy mini band that you can get from Perform Better. That the average price is $2 or $2.50 for a band. So if you're stuck at home, you don't have a gym membership, and you're looking to improve your glutes, you want to shape up the gluteus maximus, this would be the routine for you. There's a lot of simple things that you can do. The first thing I want to touch on, as I mentioned in the write-up on the blog, was that the glutes have three major functions. The first major function is that they abduct, or move the leg away from the body, so they abduct the hip. They externally rotate the hip. You'll notice the femur is turning outwards. Or they do hip extension, where the femur is literally coming in line with the spine. So those are the three major functions of the glutes. So if we want to train the glutes correctly, then we need to train all three functions. So that's what I'm going to hit on in this particular video, is just what I call the activation drills. And the first one I start with is a single leg hip extension. Ms. Devin is going to demonstrate for us, so she's going to lay on her back. And she's going to bend her knees, and her heels are going to come close to underneath her knees. The reason I do this, I want the hamstrings nice and short. If the hamstrings are nice and short, that means the glutes have to do a majority of the work. And then I'll instruct her, she'll take one leg off the ground. She's going to pull the knee up towards her chest slightly. And she's going to drive through the heel that is on the ground. Her hips are going to come off the ground, and she's going to fire her glutes. Usually I have clients hold for a pause of 2 and then go back down. One thing I want to preface is, for people with low back pain, is that the way you tilt your pelvis is important. So check me out here. Can you go on your knees for a second? There's two ways that your pelvis can tilt. The first way is an anterior tilt. So yeah, see how she's kind of like rounding? If she picks her arm up, she's rounding her back right there. That's what you don't want. The other way she can tilt her pelvis is a posterior tilt. She's actually tucking the tailbone underneath and flattening out the low back. That's what I'm going to ask her to recreate on those hip extensions. So if you come back down. So yeah, the one leg goes up, and then I'll instruct her again, push through the heel. She's posterior or tucking the tailbone under. She should feel it in her glute. You feel it in your butt? Good. She said yes, she can go down. If you don't feel this in your glutes, that's normal for a lot of people. You have what we call in the training world glute amnesia. What I would instruct you to do is come up, Devin. Hip extension. Good, cool. Press. Go up, stay up, literally take your left hand, put it on your butt, and literally feel if the muscle is working or not. If it's not working, get it to fire, get that mind-muscle connection going, do 10, 15-second holds, and then back down is fine. So that is our single leg hip extensions. The other exercise I'm going to have her do while she's down there is a side lying clam. This is going to address the external rotation of the glutes. And so she's going to kind of lie on her side, almost like she's getting ready to spoon. So the knees come up to the chest slightly, the feet are tucked behind. You'll notice like it's almost from head goes to heels right here. There's a straight line. And then I'm going to use a mini band right here. And we're going to put this around just above her knees. Okay? Now a lot of people will cheat. You might not need a band for this to do it correctly. What I'm going to have her do is she's going to externally rotate the hip, and she's going to open her legs up like so. You see a lot of the women using the machines in the gym, call them yes-no machines. What I'm doing here is I'm keeping my leg against her low back, and the reason for that is a lot of people will cheat. They'll literally compensate for me. They'll literally externally rotate all the way using their low back to create the movement at the hip. You don't want that. So give me a couple more reps. She's opening right here, and glutes are firing. Good stuff, cool. So that's your side lying clams. Third one, I'm going to have you kind of lower those on your ankles and come to your feet and stand right here, please. Abduction, going to work the glute med, the sides of the glutes, okay? So she's going to take, she's got the band around her ankle, she's going to take an athletic stance, dropping the hips back. I want her to keep her chest high as an important cue. She's keeping her knees bent, and the most important part of this that I see people do wrong all the time is, I want her to keep her toes facing straight ahead the whole time. Normal client puts the mini band on, I say walk to the side, and this is the first thing I see. We want to avoid that. So she's going to keep her toes straight ahead. So back into your athletic stance, and what she's going to do is she's going to take a big step out and then a half step back. Good. Big step out and then a half step back. Notice she's keeping tension on the band the whole time. Good. Cool. And 2 more. 1 more. And done. Good, cool. So what I would normally have somebody do for the hip extensions, I would start people off with 15 per leg. Your side lying clams the same. And then just to keep it simple on the mini band lateral walks, 15 all in one direction and then 15 back. And that should be enough to get you started. We'll talk a little bit more about integrating what we've activated in our next video. Thanks.